Hello there, this is the second last video for 2024 and welcome to this AFK journey video. So for those of you guys who have been following me since the start, since Garden Tales days or since the start of 2024 or since the release of AFK Journey Global Server, thank you so much for accompanying the channel from the start till the end. And for those of you guys who just joined or is watching the video or my content for the very first time, I welcome you guys as well. So 2024 has been great for the channel and here's to a greater 2025 with all of you guys as well as with AFK Journey itself. So being the second last video of the channel or for the year itself, we're going to run through all the top 1 most meta teams for all the different endless dream realm bosses in the year 2024. Okay, so for this we will be benchmarking our best teams to one of the strongest player in my district. In fact, probably one of the strongest player in the game as well. And we will be talking about the unit formation, the synergies between the units, the positioning, the charms, as well as the artifact used. So we will also be replaying the battle so that you guys can see the movements of the units to further and better explain the team formation itself. So starting off, we have Necrodrakon, which is benchmarked at 96.5 build right here. So this is the unit damage distribution. We have Croaker, Mikola, Sonya together with Fresto as well as Harak. So let's run through the formation and then talk about the positioning and why the units are there. So for the first unit, Croaker is on this tile over here beside the Illusion Fresto. So this is the frontmost Illusion Fresto because after the hotfix on Harak in the boss fights itself, Harak now prioritizes the frontmost unit to feast on once the third skill goes on cooldown. So right now, having Fresto in the team allows you to spawn an Illusion Fresto for Harak to eat first to buy additional time for your other units to do what they want to do, either be it buffing, be it debuffing or utility or additional damage on the boss itself. So that's why Illusion Fresto is right here. So what will happen is Harak will eat this Illusion Fresto and then this Fresto will spawn another Illusion which will then be buffed by Mikola later on, and then Croaker will be able to debuff first and then will be eaten by Harak second, followed by Mikola. So Mikola will be able to provide for the heroic duo buff and then eaten up by Harak, so on and so forth. And this positioning allows Sonya to stay from the start to the end of battle to provide maximum buff both on the main Fresto as well as the Harak over here. So Croaker's role is for debuffing, so the best charm is Arcane Charm. For skill damage as well as haste. So haste will allow Croaker to use the skills faster, and then the skill damage will increase the damage number on the second and third skill for a little bit more oomph from Croaker right here. And then we have Mikola. So Mikola's charm is the magic charm, skill damage or skill power as well as attack percentage for more heal as well as more buff on the second and the third skill right here, as you guys can see. So their role in the team is number 1 for that little bit of debuffs as well as buffing, and then followed by being the foot to Harak in this team setup right here. So the third unit, Sonya is super duper good, being able to hyper buff 2 units. So in this case, Sonya is going to hyper buff herself as well as Fresto, the main body, as well as the Harak over here. Okay, so this is the role of Sonya, and this positioning will allow Sonya to be the 4th being eaten by Harak. So there are still going to be some RNG factor to Harak because of how the skill works, as the skill will go after the weakest non-summon units. So let's say there is a possibility that if your Sonya is a little bit weaker, she might be lower HP compared to like the other units that are in front, then she could be eaten, right? There is this possibility. But let's say if all your units are built up like this team over here, then the biting order or the feasting order will be Illusion Fresto, Croaker, Mikola, followed by Sonya. And then that's where you will end the battle with Harak eating Sonya and maximize the damage on Sonya, Fresto, as well as Harak right here. So Fresto is there for the factional bonus, being a Celestial Hypogene. So Hypogene provides you additional stats and provides 2 body so that your Harak is able to eat 1, and then this Fresto will be able to spawn the Illusion again for additional damage or for an additional body for Harak to feast on should the cooldown be recycled or not sufficient. So that is the purpose of Fresto here. And then lastly, we have Harak being the hyper carry, right? Balance charm maxed out. Harak needs no explanation for this boss, the strongest damage dealer single target wise against the boss over here. So the only consideration would be the positioning side of things, and this is the optimal positioning right now. So without further ado, let's run through the replay. So I'll run this at one time so that you guys can sort of understand the biting order. We'll speed up when necessary. As I'm explaining the thing, I'll try to slow down so that I can point out certain stuff. So right here, Croaker will be able to debuff the boss. So this debuff will stick to the boss for a really long time. Mikola casts the Courage Sphere, as you guys can see. So this Courage Sphere will be able to cover Croaker, will be able to cover the Freyasto herself, as well as our dear Hara over here for maximum buff on the carry. And then we're going to speed things up. And then, right, Hara will eat up Croaker, but it doesn't matter because Croaker is there for that like debuff at the start of battle, and the debuff sticks around for a really long time. So Croaker has done his job. He can sacrifice himself for Hara to gain additional stats, followed by Mikola right here, as you guys can see. Okay, so we're gonna speed up this battle. And then, right, the resonating spell, which is the best artifact to buff up Hara, because Hara just deals so much damage, gives Hara the ability to spam the ultimate with the energy regen as well as additional attack percentage. So as you guys can see, the last few units to be eaten will be Sonya, followed by Freyasto. In fact, the main Freyasto survived towards the end. So this is where Freyasto as well as Sonya will be able to jam in maximum damage while providing maximum buff for the two core carries right here. Okay, so this is the best team for Necrodrakon, best artifact, as well as the best magic charm combination. Okay, so next we have Snow Stomper. So Snow Stomper is a pre-Hara hotfix, so there could be a better positioning for Snow Stomper, but we will refer to this as the best team for 2024 because if we were to record it tomorrow, then it will be 2025. So let's see whether or not there's a better arrangement for Snow Stomper tomorrow. But with regards to this team right here, let's run through the charms with my friends' units first. And because the battle version is a little bit low to review, right, we will be using Watt's replay over here as well as the positioning, because the formation as well as the team position is roughly the same with regards to this boss over here. So I'll share a few as you guys can see. So Nirinda's also running the same positioning, and then we have our dear Inverse over here also running the same positioning right here. So the variance for this team is still a little bit big because this is pre-Hara hotfix, but with regards to the charm, Mikola, magic charm, right, skill power as well as attack percentage. Reina with the arcane charm over here for additional spam on the skills as well as heal of the dynamic balance. And then we have our dear Freyasto inside, need not explain too much. We have Lily May with insight as well, and then we have Harrock with balance charm. So as you guys can see, these are all not refined yet because this is pre-Harrock, and Snow Stomper will only appear tomorrow, so I think we haven't reached that cycle of Snow Stomper with refinement yet, but I think this score should be a little bit higher tomorrow, but we will actually stay tuned for that, right? If there's any massive jump, we'll definitely talk about it. But for the 2024 best team for Snow Stomper right here, this is the unit composition. Let me go into the arrangement over here. Okay, so formation is as such. When we arrange the unit like this, Mikola will be the first feast target of Freyasto, followed by the illusion Freyasto, and then the main Freyasto will spawn another body, and then Harrock will go after Reina, if I remember correctly. So this will give you maximum damage output on Lily May, and then also maximum damage output on Harrock, because you get the maximum stat buff on Harrock before the global silence of Snow Stomper stats in. So this is the arrangement, and Harrock is or will be behind the illusion Freyasto, and this is a must because you need the additional energy regen for Harrock to start the ultimate before Snow Stomper casts the very first silence. So this will grant your Harrock that unaffected for that 6 seconds, right? So this will allow him to use his other skills despite the global silence being active because he's unaffected. Okay, so these are the, I think Watt's Lime is powered up in terms of the charms, Harrock's as well. Yeah, so the main carries are powered up, and without further ado, let's run through this replay over here. So I think with the inclusion of the Harrock hotfix, the positioning could be a little bit more optimized, but I believe the most optimal team should still be this one right here with regards to the units as well as the charm combination. So right here, Snow Stomper casts the global silence, but as you guys can see, we see the golden aura on Harrock, which means that he's currently unaffected, so he can still cast his skill to actually feast on Mikola right here. So this will give him a little bit of a stat buff, as well as the ability to use the ultimate before being silenced. So right here, he's silenced, and therefore he can't use his skill, and you definitely need to put Harap behind the main Feresto for you to get the energy regen to start the ultimate before the global silence map. So if you don't do that, then your Harap won't be able to cast their first ultimate before the first global silence, and then your offensive tempo will be slowed down. Okay, so right here, Illusion Feresto, I think the next target should be Reina. Yeah, because you need to try to keep Lily May alive towards the end. At least this was pre-Harap hotfix. Okay, and then the next one should either be Illusion Feresto or Lily May right here. So you guys can see when Harap casts the ultimate, he's unaffected. So this way, the global silence doesn't affect him, and he can still use his digestion ability for him to keep the buff uptime for the third skill itself. Okay, so this is the damage distribution once again. And with that, let us move on to our next boss. Okay, so for Crystal Beetle itself, this is the updated post-Harap team. And we are going to use Ludovic as well, the carries for the team. So the unit of choice, Smokey right here with the Insight Charm. I think Heal Charm works on Smokey as well, because you just need the skill power for energizing formula to give you more buffs. That little bit of heal from quick recovery is helpful, but I think this team can survive pretty well because you got Ludovic as well as Mikola together with Smokey. So that additional heal is good to have, but not a must-have. More importantly, it's the additional attack percentage on energizing formula right here. And then we have Ludovic with the Insight Charm for additional skill power and ultimate power for more heal, as well as damage of the second and third skill right here, as you guys can see. So with regards to Ludovic, Ludovic will be the highest damage unit. And the reason why we are running Great Sword spell is for the maximum attack percentage buff on Ludovic, for Ludovic to do maximum damage, because Ludovic is a HP percentage based unit, so having higher attack increases the damage from the HP percentage portion, and that's why we're running quick Great Sword spell over here. So it's not for the debuff as well as the damage from the Great Sword, because there isn't that many physical attackers. In fact, the Great Sword won't proc that much, but the stat boost as well as the attack percentage boost is what we are looking for to combine with Ludovic right here. Now we have Shakir for the Lupine Aura buff. So Shakir will be using the Arcane Charm set for skill power as well as haste to transform as fast as possible. And against Crystal Beetle, because Crystal Beetle has the ability to allow your units to regenerate HP over here, this pretty much allows Shakir to stay in the Lupine form permanently with the damage that he takes to generate energy, as well as the skill coming up from Crystal Beetle. So the positioning for Shakir is as such. This is a positioning which will cause Shakir to run right in the middle of the boss itself, and once he transforms, he won't be stunned by the boss, and his Lupine Aura is able to cover all the units all the way from our dear Smokey to Ludovic right here. And then we have Mikola behind our dear Ludovic. So I think the reason why Mikola is behind Ludovic, number one, is to give additional attack percentage to Mikola, so that Mikola's damage Q from the passionate opening part can hit a little bit harder. But more importantly is to allow Mikola to stay on the right side for the Courageous Sphere to benefit the right side of the team itself, because Ludovic is able to hit really hard. So you want to benefit Ludovic a little bit more to push the damage on Ludovic over pushing the damage on Smokey on the other side. And then we have Feresto. So Feresto, one will go to the left side and one will go to the right side. And then you will see this very nice, I'll say M-shaped cover, where Shakir's aura will be able to benefit the whole team, Smokey's aroma will be able to benefit the whole team, and then Mikola will be able to benefit the right side of the team itself. Okay, so this will be Illusion Feresto. So the Illusion Feresto will get the energy regen from the main Feresto in front, and this is the team arrangement right here. Okay, so let's run through the battle to showcase the fight itself. So this positioning allows the unit to run in this M-shaped formation, as you guys can see right here. So Mikola's Courageous Sphere will be able to cover all the units except for Smokey right here. And then Shakir, once transformed, stays in the Lupine form to provide maximum Lupine Aura buff for the whole team over here. Then Ludovic will be the healer, which will keep the unit alive, but more importantly, the damage dealer with his HP percentage buff. Being a magical attacker also greatly boosts his damage against Crystal Beetle right here, because Crystal Beetle is weak to the magical damage side of things. So this is for the lineup over here. So as you guys can see, Great Sword Spell is not proccing that much. We are using Great Sword Spell mostly for the attack percentage as well as the attack speed percentage buff over here. So this is the best team for Crystal Beetle once again. Damage distribution right here. And without further ado, let us move on to the next boss. Okay, so next one we have Orsen. So for Orsen's case, initially we had Elsa in the best damage team. So this was probably the previous best damage team, and Elsa was there for the ultimate spamming as well as the stunning to remove the fairy stack of the 4th skill right here, so that there is lesser damage reduction on the boss. But it seems like Ludovic just does so much damage. And with the combination of Shakir as well as Fresto and Smokey and Mikola for the maximum buff on Ludovic, Ludovic is carrying the team right here even in Orsen. So I'm not going to run through too much of the charm, pretty much the same charm in terms of the most optimal charm combination. Now let's run through the formation as well as the artifact right here. So if we take a look at this arrangement, I think this team has a little bit of RNG factor. In a sense, Shakir will actually run forward and then obviously transform for the Lupine Aura coverage. And I think the Lupine Aura should be able to cover all the units on the battlefield based on this arrangement. And then the Resonator buff will actually buff up Fresto, which will also be buffed up by our dear Ludovic's charm ability right here to give this Illusion Fresto a little bit more damage. So we are putting Shakir behind the main Fresto because the main Fresto will provide for the energy regen for your Shakir to transform faster, and that's why you want to put the main Fresto on the left side and the Illusion Fresto on the right side. So Shakir is there for maximum buff, Mikola maximum buff, Smokey for a little bit of damage as well as buff, and then Ludovic as well as Fresto will be the main damage dealer for the team. So this is the damage distribution, and without further ado, let's start this replay. Yeah, so the balls behind Orsen, they are the Fury stacks for this boss. So I think Shakir is able to remove one stack when he transforms, but as you guys can see, right, this team doesn't remove the Fury stack. There's very little damage reduction, and you guys might think, hey, this means that the boss have maximum Fury stack and the boss does hit super duper hard. But then if you take a look at the team composition right here, we have the Lupine Aura damage reduction, we have heals from Smokey, we have heals from Ludovic as well as Mikola. The team has no issue surviving. So because Ludovic just does so much damage against a lot of the endless bosses right here, this means that you use Ludovic as a main carry as well as the main healer for the team to push through for maximum damage. So this is for Orsen. Okay, now next we have Lone Gaze. So Lone Gaze comes back to Harrock once again, and this is the post Harrock hotfix on the 27th of December, and this is the team formation as such, as you guys can see. So same thing, Illusion Fresto will be in front. So the Harrock by order will be Illusion Fresto, Mikola followed by Smokey, or maybe another Illusion Fresto, and then the Smokey will be able to cast the third ultimate for the additional damage before dying off to Harrock. And then we have Sonia surviving to the end for maximum buff on the main Fresto as well as the Harrock over here. So Resonating Spell to hyper buff Harrock, as you guys can see from Harrock's damage, way larger than all the other units. So Resonating will allow him to spam his skill as well as get that attack buff from the Resonator bonus itself. So without further ado, let's run through the replay. Okay, so throughout this fight itself, we will actually be able to keep Smokey alive. So usually Smokey being isolated at the back will kill him pretty easily, but for this team over here, the Smokey is pretty stacked up. So the Smokey is able to survive to cast this blue color aura ultimate right here, and then eventually he will be beaten by Harrock right here for the stat bonus on Ravenous Digestion, right? So Sonia is able to keep herself alive together with the Illusion Fresto as well as Harrock right here. And this is where Harrock stays in, gets the maximum buff from the different sources, and then all the other units just maximize what they want to do before sacrificing themselves to Harrock right here. Okay, so let's run through the battle to the end. So I think all the units will eventually be beaten up. Okay, wait, there should be one more. Yeah, the main Fresto survives from the start to the end right here. Yeah, so that's why it's able to do quite a bit of damage. Okay, so this is the best, most optimal team for Lone Gaze right here. Now, for Alpha Bear's best team, I think this is a team you will require quite a bit of stats, especially on the EX weapon of your units, because usually against Alpha Bear, once he's able to honey all your units on the battlefield, he will launch the Mega Swarm over here to do quite a bit of damage. But because we are running two of the best healers in the game, Mikola as well as Smokey as usual, together with Shakir with the Lupine Aura buff itself, the damage reduction from Shakir as well as the heal from two of the supports is able to keep your whole team alive from the start to the end of the battle with this setup over here, right? And then we have Lily May as the main damage dealer with the Resonator buff, and then Fresto for the good energy buff on Shakir right here. Let's run through the formation. So the Shakir will get the energy buff from Fresto to transform faster and then maintain the Lupine Aura for as long as possible. So another interesting interaction is when the boss actually casts the Honification, Shakir will be able to regen energy from taking damage from the boss itself. So this is where he will be able to maintain his Lupine Aura for really long, and this additional damage reduction is really helpful to keep all your units alive. Like this team, by right shouldn't survive, because usually when you fight against Honey Alpha Bear, once all your units get honeyed, this Mega Swarm just kills them, like I mentioned earlier. So you specifically need this team, and you specifically need, I'll say, quite a bit of stats, or I'll say at least your EX weapon built up for the maximum heal, the sustain, as well as the as early transformation from Shakir as possible. So this is the team, and this is the formation. And without further ado, let's run through the battle over here. So the previous idea of dealing with Honey Alpha Bear is to not send in too many melee units, right? If not, as you guys can see, the whole front line just get honeyed, and then that's where the boss casts the Mega Swarm. But then, like I mentioned earlier, because of all this healing power, all this magical charm, all this aura protection, damage reduction, even if your units all get honeyed, they just don't die, and then you just do maximum damage from here. Like this is just insane. I think this is one of the showcase for how magic charms, how the unit skills will scale off differently as we move from the early to the late game itself, and change the way we tackle the boss for maximum damage. Yeah, so previously there was no way to survive the Mega Honey, but here it is, as you guys can see right here. And then all the units survive and do what they want to do, and maximum damage. So this is with regards to the best team for Honey Alpha Bear right here. Okay, so nothing to actually talk about. I think the best damage dealer is none other than Fresto for this one, and then followed by Lily May. So the reason why we are not using Harak is because if you use Harak, you will cannibalize your own unit, and then not only will you not be able to keep your sustain going, and you will also lose quite a bit of damage because your units will die way earlier with your units falling one by one from Harak itself. So that's with regards to the Honey Alpha Bear right here. Okay, so coming to the second last two boss for today's video, we have Skyclops over here. So I believe this Skyclops team is still not fully optimized in terms of the positioning, because what happens here is ideally you want Harak to eat Illusion Fresto, followed by Mikola, followed by Smokey, so on and so forth, and then keep your main carries, which are Lily May as well as Fresto, to the end, similar to all the other bosses. But as you guys will see later on, Harak will be jumping around randomly, I guess because of the laser from Skyclops. But this team is the strongest because we have some of the strongest damage dealers from both spectrum against endless bosses. So we have Lily May and Fresto on the magical side together with Smokey right here, and then we have Harak being the strongest physical attacker on the physical side, right? So you running this two damage type is actually really good against Skyclops, because one of the biggest part of Skyclops kit is the Enlightening Shield as well as the Doomed Shield. So this is because when he summons the Wing of Darkness as well as Light, Darkness takes reduced magical damage and Light takes reduced physical damage. So this is where, when he summons the Wing of Light, your magical damage dealer will be able to kill off the Wing of Light ASAP, and then your physical damage dealer will be able to kill off the Wing of Darkness ASAP. So when these wings are alive, you will not be able to damage the boss because the boss will be immune to damage, and that's why you want to finish them off ASAP itself. So that is with regards to this team, and without further ado, let's run through the battle. So the reason why I say this could be optimized will be sort of showcased later on based on who your Harald goes after. So the Harald actually goes after the illusion Fresto first, and then Fresto summons one illusion right here. And because this boss has this summons that extends the feast duration by a little bit longer, I think eventually 2 units will survive to the end. But right here, there's this like cooldown period, and Harald will still eat up Smokey over here. But this is after Smokey has used his ultimate, so he has done maximum damage. What we are losing is the heal as well as the buff. Okay, and then Lily May. So ideally, you want Lily May to stay towards the end. So you probably want Harald to eat Mikola here, followed by Fresto. But I guess that's that. Managed to do maximum damage here with this team, 99 build, and that's the best team, at least showcased by my friend right here. Okay, and to end things off, we have King Croaker, one of the OG bosses. So with the introduction of new bosses, as well as the promise of only 8 DRealm bosses, King Croaker might be one of those units or one of those bosses that will move away in the next cycle. So let's see what's the best team for King Croaker right here, shared on the 30th of December. So this is with Sonya, once again with Ludovic, as well as Smokey, Mikola, as well as Fresto. So I'm not going to talk too much about the charms because they are pretty much all the best in slot charms against all these bosses right here. So this is the formation. So looking at this formation, what I can decipher is one of the Fresto, probably the illusion one, will be used to sacrifice first, followed by Mikola, because Froki or King Croaker over here has an insta-kill ability. So you need that additional body, right, to buy more time for all your other units to do stuff. And in terms of the buffing, Sonya is positioned as such so that you actually get maximum buff on Smokey as well as Ludovic. So if we take a look at the damage distribution right here, Ludovic is still the main damage dealer, and then we have the main Fresto behind Ludovic for maximum attack buff from Ludovic's magic charm set over here, and that's where Ludovic will be able to jam in some damage. And I think due to the restriction of our dear Sonya skill, you kind of want Smokey to be positioned in the middle so that his aroma covers everyone while being able to deal damage to the boss. So that's why we can't actually buff up the illusion in terms of the positioning side. So if you guys figure a better positioning so that your Fresto can get buffed, that Fresto behind our dear Ludovic can get buffed by Sonya, then you guys do let me know, okay? But I do think that this is probably the better arrangement right now. So ideally, let's run through the replay. I think the insta-kill should go on this Fresto, followed by Mikola, and then followed by Sonya. Because the main damage dealer will be the Frestos, as well as the 2 supports at the back line. Okay, so Illusion Fresto got taken out. So that's 1 insta-kill. The boss have 3 insta-kill. Okay, so next one is Sonya. Okay, but Sonya gets killed around that 45-second mark, which means that Sonya has already provided for the maximum stat boost on the 2 supports in the backline. So I guess to a certain extent, Sonya has done a job in this case. And then Fresto continues to stay alive to output maximum damage. Yeah, so okay, makes sense. So this positioning allows the 3 core damage dealer to stay alive from the start to the end. And yeah, I guess this is probably the best, at least for the year 2024. So damage distribution once again. And that's pretty much it for all the best teams shared by one of the strongest players in my district. And thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more videos from the channel. See you guys again in my next video in 2025. Bye guys.